Hello and good afternoon. Welcome and to all the students that have joined the virtual presentation today. I would like to welcome Kate from Cultural Care Repair, who has kindly taken out the time to speak to you guys in regards to the opportunities that they have. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Kate will now start the presentation. She'll be unmuted now.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much and welcome to our virtual presentation today. Are you all able to hear me nice and clearly? Excellent. Thank you very much for responding so quickly there. Brilliant. So yeah, my name is Kate and I'm here to talk to you today about a one-of-a-kind experience that is au pair life. And I'm here today because I've personally benefited from cultural exchange as someone who was able to live, study and work abroad as an au pair in both Connecticut and Massachusetts in the USA. The experience of living abroad completely changed my life and my perspective on the world and other cultures. And I know I went away from it having made a very positive impact on the lives of my host family. It changed my life for the better and gave me a really unique opportunity to immerse myself in a new country and culture, and it helped me to become a more independent and confident version of myself. It also made me realise that I can really do anything that I put my mind to. Beyond adding to my own personal growth, I also believe that cultural exchange makes the world a better place by helping people understand that underneath it all, people everywhere have way more in common than they may have previously first thought. My own amazing experience living abroad is why I want to help introduce others to the benefit of cultural exchange through the au pair programme. And my international experience has really opened up my world. So now let's take a look at the ways in which being an au pair in the USA will open up yours. Being an au pair in the USA is a chance to open your world to new people, places, and ways of thinking. By living with an American family, you'll get an authentic taste of American life. You'll have opportunities to study, travel, and earn money whilst you're there. And because you're caring for kids, you'll get to shape the lives of the children, which means that you get to watch them grow, celebrate their firsts, and enjoy lots of cuddles along the way. The au pair programme is an opportunity to change your life and become more independent and more confident in yourself. In fact, in 2018, a Harvard study found that living abroad actually helps people develop a clearer sense of self because they're going outside their comfort zone every day. And the people surveyed said that the experience gave them much more clarity about who they are and their plans for the future as well. Whether you plan to work professionally in childcare or education, pursue a career in international business, advance in your existing field, or simply take a year or two to develop yourself and go outside your comfort zone, the au pair programme can help you achieve your own unique set of goals. So have a little think about what those unique goals may be for you. What do you believe you would be able to gain from such an experience? Is it personal development and growth? Is it international work experience, or just a chance to engage with and learn about a new country and culture? Have a little bit of a think about it. We may come back to that at the end of the session. But first, what we will do is have a look at how one au pair really expanded her personal perspective by becoming an au pair. So this is South African au pair, Michaela, and she says, before the au pair experience, I was a very shy person. I was bullied growing up, so naturally I just wanted to blend into the background and not be seen. Now I am able to stand up in front of a group of people and talk without having it in a freak out. I am no longer scared to go after my dreams. I used to think that there would always be someone better than me, so why even try? Now, I say that if I don't even go after what I want, then how could I better myself to be that better person? You never know unless you try, and I have learned that my only limitations are the ones that I put on myself. Now, we've gotten this far, and you might still be wondering, what exactly is an au pair? So the term au pair is actually French for on par, and that is supposed to represent the kind of relationship that you will have with your host family, one that is filled with mutual respect and trust. Being an au pair means providing childcare for an American host family who welcomes you into their home. But being an au pair is about so much more than simply watching the kids as a babysitter. You're really spending a lot of time with the family and shaping the children's lives. So an au pair is a caregiver, but also a role model, a big sister, a big brother, an extended member of the family, and most importantly, a friend. And because you're making this big step of moving to another country, you're also an adventurer and an explorer. And because you're learning a new culture and perhaps expanding your language, you're literally going to be studying as well at an American university or college whilst you're there. That's going to make you a student. And then finally, you're going to be an ambassador for your own country, because as an au pair, you get to shape your host kids and your host family's perceptions of your own culture, showing them that people from other places and cultures can be cool too. As an au pair in the USA, you will live with an American host family in their home. The au pair program is ultimately a cultural exchange program. So what does that mean? Living with a host family in their home means that you're fully immersed in American culture. You'll learn things that you don't learn at school. You'll pick up the authentic American life, from quirky sayings and fun traditions to unspoken values and attitudes. You'll learn so much about the American culture that you'll be able to gain a new perspective of other cultures, including your own. But being an au pair is so much more than just cultural exchange as well. Your host family becomes your second family, your support for your time in a new country. You'll celebrate birthdays and holidays together. You'll watch the children grow and develop. And by putting yourself in a new setting, you'll also see yourself grow and develop too. And after the au pair adventure is over, our au pairs and host families often continue to have a strong bond that lasts a lifetime. So what kind of American host families are there, you may ask? Our host families come in all shapes and sizes. On our programme, we've got same-sex parents, single parents, families with different ethnic, racial and religious backgrounds. You name it, we've got it. Our families live in all corners of the USA, and they all have different needs, different childcare schedules, and different interests and lifestyles. You have a choice when matching with your host family. You can specify your preferences when it comes to the children's ages, how many children to care for, and more. This is an important thing to consider. After all, you'll be spending most of your time in America with your host children and your host parents. So what exactly does an au pair do? As an au pair, your childcare duties can include everything from making the children's meals to getting them dressed and out the door in the morning, from tidying up their toys, doing their laundry, or giving them a bath, from taking them to and from after-school activities and play dates, to engaging them in various games and learning activities. So now let's get an idea of what your everyday life could look like as an au pair, starting with one au pair's example of their on-duty responsibilities. So this is a typical day in the life of an au pair written by one of our au pairs, Matilda. She takes care of 3 wonderful host children in California. So in the morning, Matilda says, a typical day starts with a run to the beach or mountains to see the sunrise. I then make breakfast with the boys whilst my older host kid heads off to school. After we eat, we decide on how to spend the rest of our day. Then in the afternoon, whether it's the beach, a museum or the zoo, we meet up with some neighbourhood friends for a day filled with fun activities. After a picnic lunch, we'll head home so I can do laundry, tidy up and FaceTime my friends from home whilst the boys are having a nap. In the evening, after we pick up the oldest from school, we'll head home to do arts and crafts or play outside. After a family dinner and bath time for the kids, I'm off duty. Sometimes I'll watch a movie with my host family and sometimes I'll meet up with some friends in the city. Remember, by the way, that every day can be different and the au pair routine that we've just looked through is going to vary potentially with the au pair routine that you may have. It will all depend on what the au pair and the host family decide together. Laura, an au pair from Colombia, has nothing but love for her host kids. She says, it's amazing all you get to experience with your host kids. Even those first times that you all have together, like touching snow for the first time, or looking at the Great Grand Canyon, or simply playing with leaves in the fall. My host kids taught me to be patient, proud, careful, worried, overprotective, creative, and mostly to have fun. I wouldn't change a thing. So, why would you think the au pair program is the right fit for you? So the au pair program is great for you if you want to culturally develop yourself, personally develop yourself, or professionally develop yourself. You'll gain international work experience and develop yourself in ways which you would not have imagined. As part of the program, you also get the chance to attend classes at an American college or university. Perhaps you want to go abroad, but you don't want to feel alone. As an au pair, you will always have a roof over your head and a family that will support you throughout your experience. Your host family could even become a second family for life. Many of our former au pairs say they love knowing that they have a home waiting for them in America should they ever want to go back and visit. Maybe you want to meet friends from around the world. Not only will you meet Americans, but you will also meet au pairs from other countries during your au pair events and meetups. Or maybe you want an affordable all-in-one experience that gives you the chance to travel, immerse yourself in a new culture, and make money whilst doing it. Finally, this program is right for you if you are eager to make a difference in children's lives. You get to shape the lives of children, which means you get to watch them grow, celebrate their firsts, and enjoy lots of cuddling along the way. So let's talk a little bit more now about the benefits of becoming an au pair. So, as an au pair, you'll get round-trip airfare and travel insurance coverage included in your program fee, room and board in America for free, a weekly stipend paid to you of around $200 a week, and $500 from your host family that you can use towards classes of your choice at an American college or university. This could be the perfect opportunity to take classes that interest you and figure out what you want to study when you maybe go on to study after you've finished your courses here. You'll also receive 2 weeks vacation, plus a full travel month at the end of the experience that you can take to go and do that road trip that you've been dreaming about. And finally, Cultural Care will provide you with au pair training and preparation leading up to your experience and global support, and that network will be there to help you around the clock. Now, on a day off, perhaps this could be you. Here is the Horseshoe Bend in Arizona, and as you can probably imagine, there are hundreds and hundreds of famous landmarks that you can go and visit whilst you're over in the USA. Perhaps the Statue of Liberty, Mount Rushmore, or the White House. Because from deserts to downtowns, mountain ranges to beach villages, America is a vast country with unique places to live and explore. One of the coolest things about living in the USA is that it's a true melting pot as well. There's no typical kind of American family and no typical kind of American state. Everywhere you go, you'll find someone and something different, and you'll have many opportunities to interact with locals and tap into the American spirit of community building. You can volunteer, join a local church, take a class, join a sports team, participate in clubs and hobbies, or simply just meet people through everyday life. One of the best parts about au pair life is sharing that experience with other au pairs as well. You'll have plenty of chances to make au pair friends, whether it's when you first arrive in the USA, at our online training school, at meetups organised by your LCC, or even through popular au pair Facebook groups. Many of our au pairs become friends for life with people from all around the world. It's worth repeating that being an au pair is about so much more than taking care of kids as well. It's also about achieving your personal and professional goals. That could be taking a class at an American college or traveling as much as you can. So now what we'll do is we'll hear from some of our au pairs about their goals and what they've achieved and what they've gained from their experience of living and working abroad in the USA. So Sol, an au pair from Argentina, has this to say about her experience. Now that I am an au pair, for the first time in my life, I feel like I can do this and I can improve my English and I can study in another country. I've learned so much more about me. Back in my country, my parents did everything for me. Here, I've learned that I really can do everything that I want, and if I work hard for it, then I will get it. Verena, an au pair from Germany, says, I signed up for a computer science course at Princeton University because I was curious. I quickly learned that it fascinates me to create my own computer programs, and I learned to make it my career. Back home, I then applied for an undergraduate program in the computer science department, and they accepted me right away. They told me they were really impressed by the fact that I had a class from Princeton on my CV. Italian au pair Diana reflects on how her au pair experience helped her career. So, when I decided to become an au pair, I did not have anything specific in mind. I was about to graduate with my bachelor's, and I just wanted to take a gap year, improve my English, and travel as much as possible. After my experience, I was not scared of being in charge of my life anymore. I decided to look online for new job opportunities abroad. I found a marketing internship in Singapore for 3 months. I was used to being flexible and to adapting myself thanks to my experience as an au pair in the USA, so I had an amazing time. Now I am back in the United States and I am working as a marketing analyst. How did I get the job? I wrote on my resume that I was an au pair. During the interview, the recruiter asked me a lot of questions about my au pair experience and he hired me right after. I am sure that if I did not spend 1 year in the USA, I would have not been able to deal with such situations. For me, it's now very easy to talk to people at work, understand everything they ask of me, even if they speak fast, deal with stressful situations, and handle my workload every day. Now, you might be wondering why you should choose to travel with cultural care specifically. So here are a few facts about us. We have over 30 years of experience helping au pairs have safe and rewarding experiences in the US. We are a designated J1 visa sponsor with the US State Department. Au pairing in the USA is actually safer than doing it in another country because the American au pair program is regulated by the US Department of State. That means that you're guaranteed a baseline of support as well as regulations that are meant to protect you during your time there. Cultural care is part of EF Education First, which was founded in 1965. EF has a network of offices all around the world that has sent hundreds and thousands of students safely abroad for over 50 years, so that's great experience to tap into. We are the largest au pair agency in the USA, which means that we offer the largest pool of host families for you to choose from. And we have an extensive support network around the world that will help you every step of the way. In fact, many of our staff members were au pairs at one point, so they know the unique challenges that come with au pair life. I am one of those staff members and I was actually au pairing myself. In the USA as well, you'll always have a representative that lives an hour away at most, and the Boston and Denver offices will be available 24/7 to address any questions or concerns that you may have. One of the ways cultural care builds community is through our Cultural Care Ambassador Programme. The Ambassador Programme is a volunteer programme unique to cultural care, and its goal is to enhance the au pair experience by providing support and community for our au pairs. Once you've found a host family, we will pair you up with an ambassador buddy, who is an au pair who's currently in the USA. You can ask them your questions and get to know someone already on the programme to give you an extra layer of support before you travel. The Cultural Care Ambassador Programme also hosts local events for au pairs, provides professional development opportunities, and gives au pairs opportunity to share their stories on social media by taking over our Instagram accounts, writing blog posts, or hosting Facebook Lives. So what do I need to become an au pair? As the au pair programme is regulated by the US State Department, there are requirements that all au pairs must follow in order to be accepted onto the programme. So first question is, are you between 18 and 26 years old when you want to travel? Are you in good health? Is your past free of criminal activity? And can you commit to at least 12 months abroad? Do you love children or have at least 200 hours of experience caring for them, even if that's babysitting siblings or neighbours or family friends? Do you have a driving licence, or can you obtain one during the application process and work towards passing that? And have you completed or are you about to complete your secondary school education? If you've answered yes to all of these questions, then you could be on your way to becoming an au pair. So now that we've gotten to this part, you might be wondering about the cost of the programme. The programme fee of £1,250 will need to be paid to cultural care, but not until after you have successfully matched with a host family. In other words, you have said yes to the family for which you will join as an au pair. There is also a £65 charge for pact protection, which is cancellation protection, and an optional £125 for peace of mind protection. The programme fee includes health insurance coverage for the full year, your round-trip flights, 24/7 global support, as well as all of the other programme benefits that we previously discussed. It's also important to be aware of the additional costs that you will have throughout the process that are not paid to cultural care, but there will be additional expenses for you to join the programme. These include the visa fee of between £120 and £130, the police background check, which will cost approximately £60, the price for a health check, perhaps at your GP, that will vary depending on the people that you're speaking to there. And it will need to include negative results for tuberculosis. For immigration purposes, those tests costs can vary as well, as you can see on screen. And finally, you will need to apply for an international driver's license, and that's typically around £5.50 from your local post office. So if you're interested in applying for the au pair programme, what are your next steps? So first, please express your interest by ensuring you've passed on your details to Sabbath and the team at your university. And then once you have done that, we will be able to get in touch with you and schedule perhaps an interview, or we can help by following up with any questions that you have at that point. If you're interested in applying for the au pair programme, this is an overview of the main steps that you will then go on to take. So step 1, you've come to one of our information meetings already, so you've already completed that. Congratulations. Then what you can do is you can sign up for an interview and start completing your profile. We're here to help you with that, and that should take you around 1 to 5 days. Next, you would find your host family, and here you can take your time. Find a host family that best fits your personality and values, and you're bound to have a great time whilst you're over there, no matter where you go. Then prepare to travel to the USA for step 4. Prepare your visa, attend your Get Ready workshop, and pack for your new adventure. And then step 5, you'll be arriving in New York, and that would be the most exciting part of the whole thing. The adventure can then begin. Now, that's going to be all from me for now. And I would like to encourage you all to connect with us and follow us on social media. You can get a really authentic glimpse into the lives of our au pairs there. You can also follow us on our global Instagram, Cultural Care, our local Instagram @Cultural Care UK, or you can join us on Facebook, where we often host live events. So thank you very much for coming, and I'm going to now answer any questions that you have. If you have them, please pop them into the chat box. I can already see there are some, and I'll answer them for you now.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much. That was very informative, and I believe it can add value to our students and CVs really, and especially for the future. But yeah, no, great. We will be sharing this presentation afterwards. Those that have joined this presentation, and also obviously the recording as well. So obviously the questions have now started, so I'll pass it back on to Kate to answer.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, we will go through the list. So the first question I have is, what if you are 26 years or older when you are traveling? So as long as you are 26 when you travel, then you're fine. You can go over when you're 26. In fact, that was the age that I went. Unfortunately, due to the US kind of guidelines and the things that are put in place by the US State Department, once you're 27, unfortunately, you wouldn't qualify for the program. I wish you the best of luck in finding an alternative. Next, do you need to have experience with children? Yes, we do ask that you have experience working with children, but I can outline a little bit of the ways in which you can gain that experience. So perhaps you've worked at a nursery, perhaps you've volunteered at a primary school or with brownies or scouts. Maybe you've got younger brothers or sisters or cousins or neighbours that you've helped babysit. That all counts towards it, and it's all great experience to have. Next, can you apply next year after you've graduated? Absolutely. Please feel free to do so. If you want to just find out some more information though for now, please put forward your details anyway, and then we can help you with that. If you don't drive at the moment, that's absolutely fine. What you can do is you can start working on getting your driver's license ready. It is a requirement for the program that you do drive, because one of the jobs that you may have to do is drive the kids to school or take them to and from activities. But like I said, if you can work on that and start working towards your license, then we can still work with you for when you have passed your test. Do we have families in Wisconsin? I believe we do. We've got families pretty much everywhere. It's really fantastic in that sense. For example, I had friends in California, down in Florida, over in Washington and Seattle, and then I was in Connecticut. So that was literally the four corners all hit with that one. So that's fantastic. If you're 17 now, you can start applying and getting ready for going over to the USA. That's absolutely fine. As long as you are 18 when you're going to fly, you can do everything else whilst you're 17. That's absolutely fine. You get, with regard to choosing a location, it is a little bit different. So what we ask is that you focus on the personalities of the host families that you're speaking to, because you're going to be spending most of your time with them. You will be in the location, but the most important thing is that you're spending time with your host family and you get along with them. You will know where they are from. You'll be able to see what location they're in. But bear in mind, it's very, very easy to travel whilst you're over there. I was in Connecticut in the northeast. Florida's down in the southeast. I flew down there for a weekend one time just to go to Disneyland. You can do things like that whilst you're over there. It's really good fun. If you are 27 or above, unfortunately, you would be too old. If you're 26 at the moment, you're still more than welcome to express your interest, but I would suggest that we're flying from January onwards at the moment. So if you're turning 27 by that point, unfortunately, you may have to find an alternative option there. You're in South Africa with EF and it was amazing. Yes, EF and cultural care, obviously we would work with Education First as well. So that's fantastic. I'd like to think that we do good jobs with all of our trips. That's great. What level of English do you need to have? If you've got through this presentation fine and you understood, you're already fine. But you can have a conversation with myself or one of my colleagues and we can talk you through and see where you're at that point, and that's absolutely fine. Fantastic. And yes. Any other questions I can help you with?
I'm just responding back to Mario. Mario, the student, not to worry, and please don't be sad. I'm sure there might be other companies that possibly could support. If it's not with cultural care repair, maybe there might be others that you may be able to sign up with instead.
Yeah. So one thing about the age is it is determined by the US Department of State, so it's not something that we set. Otherwise, I'm sure we'd have everybody going of all ages, but there are definitely opportunities to au pair in different places, perhaps, that you could maybe look into. But unfortunately, we're just the USA, which is a great place to go anyway. It is not necessary to apply to a university whilst you're there, but it is necessary to study a small amount whilst you're there. So whilst I was in the USA, I was not interested in doing something that was going to involve essays again. I was done with that. I'd already served my time with regards to that. So for me, I wanted to study things that were going to be more in line with my hobbies and interests, which is something that you can absolutely do whilst you're there. Whilst I was in the USA, I studied performing arts on Broadway, for example, which was really, really good fun. I had a friend who did a geography trip, which was basically just a visit to Niagara Falls. There's lots and lots of different things that you can do, as well as, if you wanted to, going to study computer science at Princeton or English at Harvard. There's so many different options, and you can really make that opportunity what you want it to be. So that'd be fantastic. We need a different amount of hours of experience for different age ranges of children. Yes, so as a general rule, we just ask a minimum that you have 200 hours of experience working with children in general. If you did want to work with children under the age of 2 and be what's called infant qualified, then you would specifically need to have experience for 200 hours with that age range of children. So perhaps, again, younger brothers and sisters, cousins, babysitting, working in a preschool. If you had a reference, for example, from that place, then that would be absolutely fine and that will count for it. The seminars and the courses. So basically, When I was over there, the experience that I had was that I did 2 weekend classes. My classes involved seminars, they involved doing kind of live activities and getting up and obviously performing, because it was a performing arts class. Depending on the class that you choose to take, it may be set out in different ways. There may be lectures, there may be seminars, there may be practical aspects. It really does depend on what it is that you're choosing to study whilst you're there. Fantastic. And are there any other questions? So you wouldn't be studying for the full 12 months, but the programme is a minimum of 12 months long. When I was studying myself, it was 2 weekend classes that I took, and that covered all of the education that I needed to do whilst I was over there. Again, your studying can look in a lot of different ways, depending on what you want to get out of it and depending on what you sign up for. For me, I did 2 weekend classes. One of my friends took a class at the local community college, which was every Thursday for an hour. And so every Thursday she'd tootle over, have her lesson, and then that would kind of stack up to add up to what she needed to do to complete all of her studying while she was there. In total, you have to do 72 hours worth of studying, which is why I did 2 weekend classes, because that covered me. Fantastic. With regards to choosing your classes, it's always good to have an idea of what you want to do before you go over, but that your mind could change if you find a new class whilst you're over there that, you go, actually, I want to do that instead, and that's absolutely fine. I went over in my head that I wanted to do a photography class, for example, and then when I got there, I did an acting class. That's okay. That's absolutely fine to change whilst you're over there. And you can apply for those classes whilst you're in the US as well. So, for example, if you thought you wanted to do them in the summertime or in the autumn time, depending on when you go over, that's absolutely fine. An important thing that I can also just kind of add to the studying that you do, you'll come away with a qualification from those classes too. So you'll come away with a certificate from the college or the university that you studied at. So that's always great to add to your CV. So you're currently in your second year of university. It depends again. So if you're doing, this is a program that you can do, for example, as a gap year. It may be worth speaking to people at university to see, if that'd be something that would work within your gap year. But it is a gap year. It's a cultural exchange experience. You will be working, for example, at most around 45 hours a week. So you need to keep that in mind when you're looking to apply as well. You don't need a CV to apply because you will fill in a whole fresh application with us. We're happy to help you with filling in that application too and give you guidance on what's best to include in that. But you would just fill in a whole new profile, so you don't need to have a previous CV to hand, although it might be handy to transfer information over from. Brilliant. And then any other questions?
Yep, there's a few more coming in, I believe, from the bottom.
Fantastic.
Was the question answered for Pritpal call? Is that answered from him?
Yes.
Because we've got a few more coming in.
That's okay. So, depending on how proactive you are, will depend on how quickly you'll be able to fly out. At the moment, the earliest you'd be able to go is kind of January, February time. But if you're very quick in getting your profile done, if you find a host family quite quickly as well, then we can start getting the ball rolling for you to help you fly out whenever it is you're looking to go over. So that's fantastic. If you wanted to apply next year, who can you get in contact with? Please feel free to pass your details forward to Sabbath, and then they'll be passed on to me. Once we have your details, then we can get in touch with you. You can let us know when you're looking to apply, and we'll get back in touch with you when it's time for you to start getting going with that.
Great. I have had a few private messages. So hopefully I will be able to send that across actually to the students after.
That's fine, no problem. All right. The travel bans for the US at the moment. So at the moment, there is a presidential proclamation in place, which would mean that you would not be able to travel until kind of January, February time anyway. But that's still absolutely fine, because that would be when we'd be getting you ready for anyway at this time of the year. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. And we would be, we're committed to getting you guys over to your host families as soon as we can. But at the moment, as I said, January, February time is when we'd be working towards anyway this time of the year, despite everything else that's been going on. Yeah, I think Saba's going to pop your mail down for you now, so that's fantastic. If you are interested as well, as you can see on the screen, we have got our Instagram pages there too, which are fantastic. If you have a little look at those, they are really great. If you wanted to ask somebody who's like currently an au pair at the moment some questions. So if you go to our general global page, it's @Cultural Care. And equally, if you go to our local page, so just for the UK, that's @Cultural Care UK. And like I said, we have people taking over the stories there and talking about their experience and being open for any questions that you have. Speaking of which, as I said at the start of the presentation, I've been an au pair myself. I think I returned back to the UK around this time last year, so I'm still quite fresh. So if you've got any questions about what I did whilst I was over there as well, I'm more than happy to answer those.
I feel like we've had questions so far actually from the students, so thank you very much for asking. And a lot of them were pretty relevant to what Kate had mentioned throughout the presentation, so thank you very much. If there's any more questions, please feel free to pop into the public chat, and I'm sure Kate would be more than happy to answer them. But please do know I do have the email addresses which you're all registered with on the portal. So I will be sending the presentation after this, as soon as we finish this this talk, and anything else. So hopefully we can help.
Fantastic. And no, things such as sexuality do not factor into the application. We have a really diverse range of host families over in the USA. We want a really diverse range of au pairs as well. We want to celebrate everything that makes us unique. So nothing at all to worry about there.
Great. Any more questions, guys, before we finish? Okay. Oh, there's another question coming up. If we can make these the last few questions, please, for the next few minutes, and then we can finish off for today.
Absolutely. Yeah, so if there is a situation where unfortunately you and your host family are not getting along and there's nothing that can be done to kind of resolve that, obviously we do everything we can so that you'll never put in that position in the first place. We want to make sure that you're matching with a family that you like in the first place, and that you guys are compatible and everybody's been checked out first too. So we want to make sure that everyone's in the right ball game at the start of that already. But if there is a case where unfortunately you guys are not getting along, then we'll do some mediation meetings with you guys first, see if it can be resolved. Same as like with any new job, might be like a settling in period. But then if it's still not working for you, then you would have the opportunity to find another family whilst you're in the US. Absolutely. Obviously that's on a case by case basis, but more than likely we will help you find that other family, and hopefully that won't come to that point in the first place, and hopefully everything could be resolved if anything does happen. As a final year student in your last semester, yes, you can apply as long as you meet the criteria that I mentioned before with regards to ages. Then that's absolutely fine. Same for a postgraduate student. It all adds to your CV, so it's all fantastic in that sense. Yes, it is being recorded, yes.
Hopefully I can send this recorded version after. So if I can just remind students that are still in this conference, once this is all finished, I will hopefully email it across to you. Hope that answers the question. Malvika, thank you. Okay, I believe we have one last question, possibly.
Absolutely. So everyone's going to be very different with international students. Obviously, we're the UK office, so we'll be supporting people who are able to fly from the UK, but we have got offices all around the world. So if you are interested in applying, we can hopefully put you in the right direction of the people who will be able to help you best. Maybe it will be us. Maybe we'll be able to send you in the direction of a different office that can support you.
Great. I believe we have one more question coming in.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you so much, by the way, everyone, for your questions. It's really, really, really appreciated. From Cyprus. I will get back to you on that one because it depends on kind of. I believe you would be able to. I believe you would be able to, but I will get back to you on that one. I'll make a note of your name so that I can get in touch with you.
Great. Just wait for Tom.
I mean, that is absolutely, that is a route that could be taken, absolutely. But one thing that you would need to get before then is you would need to get a visa. And unfortunately, the visa appointments are what are paused at the moment. Once you have got your visa, then we can find ways of helping you get over to your host family. But that is a good observation, absolutely.
Great, thank you. I believe that's the end of questions. Thank you very much for those who joined us today and listened to the presentation from Kate. So if I could just repeat, I do have your email addresses. It's the same emails that you registered with on the portal. So I will send the presentation across as well as the recording once it's uploaded on our side. Any questions, you all have my email anyway. I believe I was emailing all of you guys before the session started. So that's me. Thank you very much. And you're all free to leave. And thank you very much, Kate.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.